Test 1 2. You ready? Hello, Happy New Year and good evening. It is the first meeting of the 2025 for the Bonsall Unified School District Board of Trustees. And we'll start with a roll call.
Nani Uswa here.
Eiley Trusty here.
Erica Tega here.
Pascal Lapoire here.
Roger Murchat here.
Michael Gadd is here.
And Larissa Anderson here. And what we'll do is, if we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and if we can have our student board members lead us in that, please. Prior to convening here for open session, the board met in closed session where we considered the appointment, employment, evaluation of performance, discipline, transfer, and dismissal of employees, Government Code 54957. Discussed our position regarding collective bargaining with the BTA and CSCA, Chapter 703, in order to direct the superintendent as chief negotiator in the matter of BTA and CSCA contracts. We talked about the public employee performance evaluation regarding the superintendent evaluation, and had a conference regarding potential litigation, as well as real property negotiations with the property location on the east side of Horse Creek Ranch Road. And the board took action in closed session on a vote of 5-0 to expel BUSD student of case 0012024 from Bonsall High School on the grounds of violation of Education Code sections 48900A1 and 48915A1A. Said student shall be expelled from the Bonsall Unified School District for the remainder of the 24-25 school year. The board has approved a suspended expulsion in accordance with Education Code 48916 on the condition that the student completes the rehabilitation plan. Conditions for requesting readmission were delineated in closed session. And with that, is there an approval for the current agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to the minutes for the annual organization meeting as well as the regular meeting on December 18th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. And that brings us to our reports, starting with our superintendent report. Dr. Heather Golly.
Good evening, Board of Trustees and Mrs. McInerney. I am also pleased to welcome you to the first regular board meeting of the 2025 school year. And I wanted to share that picture of our students who are very excited to come back to school. These are Bonsall West Colts, and I just happened to be stopping by, and they were being recognized as engaged community members for the things that they do to help their peers and their teachers. And from their smiles, they were very, very excited to come back to school after the holiday break. As was, let's see if this is on, this wonderful Bonsall bear. She was also very excited. You can't really see what her journal says, but I think I can. She's so happy to be at school today. She got to go see Miss Newman in her class, and she was very, very excited that Principal Fortney was going to be coming to her class the next day to observe her language arts class. And again, that's her journal, and I thought that was a beautiful encapsulation of so many things that we see across the district. Evidence of where our students belong, believe, achieve, where our staff encourages our students to belong, believe, and achieve. And as always, I like to start out with our framework because this should be driving all of our thinking in terms of the decisions that we're making and the things that we're talking about. So let's start with our vision. And how about Nani? Do you want to read our vision for us?
All students in Bonsall Unified School District engage in rigorous and relevant learning experiences that inspire them to be productive community members and future-ready lifelong learners.
Eiley, how about our mission?
We empower all students to thrive in a positive, safe, and supportive environment through high-quality education focused on the whole learner.
Excellent, thank you. And a reminder that our values as we go about trying to achieve this vision and this mission are service, innovation, collaboration, and integrity. And a perfect example of empowering students to thrive. This is another Bonsall West Colt. This is Principal Gracelyn Brackeen. And you might be wondering how at such a young age was she able to achieve so much. She was the top fundraiser for their jogathon. And as a result, she was able to choose a day when she could be principal for the day. And I'm really impressed that Gracelyn, a 5th grader, said that she specifically wanted to choose a day when there was a fire drill so that she could be in charge of the fire drill. And from what I understand, she did a fantastic job with supervision. So she was supervised, but she did a fantastic job in helping them conduct a fire drill. And while this is a wonderful example of leadership and what our students are doing and what we're seeing across the district, I also think it's a really good reminder that she chose a fire drill because, of course, what we are experiencing is unprecedented in California. And I did want to take a moment to share a message of support and to share our thoughts with Los Angeles County. We've not seen something like this before. There have been at least 25 lives lost, destruction of over 12,000 structures, including homes and schools, 19 school districts that have announced closures, nearly 200,000 residents displaced, economic losses of approximately $250 billion. Of those school districts, several of them actually lost entire schools. I want to say it's somewhere around 9 schools that were definitely impacted. I think maybe 5 of them where they were just completely destroyed. It's devastating what we're seeing. I feel for them. I know our whole community feels for them. I've heard things in the community that people are starting to do. I'm hopeful that we see maybe some efforts with our students and our sites as well in terms of our service mindset. How can we help? What can we do to support? Because it is heartbreaking to see what they are going through. And I wanted to make sure we remembered that. Here we did have an impact, but when you look at it in comparison, it was so small in comparison, but it was a really important reminder for us. We are experiencing a new normal with the public safety power shutoffs. And as we've seen, and there is speculation about whether or not the transformers in either the Eaton or Palisades fire might have contributed to those fires. But we know that energy companies are being very, very proactive now. And sometimes it seems extreme. And sometimes it seems like, oh my goodness, we're going to shut off power to this entire community for days. But when we look at the alternative, I think it really does put things in perspective in terms of what we are dealing with. It was a very important reminder for us, and what you see here is an effort for us to really examine our communication protocols. And with our protocols, we're looking to make sure that we're refining our policies and our procedures around these PSPS shutoffs, prioritizing timely and clear communication with our families and our students, and making sure that we have good plans in place. And our sites have been really supportive of that. I'm grateful to our community for understanding when we had a very sudden shutoff and we had to close 2 of our schools, BHS and SMS, for 2 days, January 8th and January 9th. To make sure we're encouraging more communication, we do have a press release that went out that's just trying to provide a little bit more context to our community so they understand why that shutoff happened. And we're working really closely with SDG&E and with our North County Fire, with the Water Authority, with everyone to make sure that all of our systems are aligned. It's a terrible reminder of the need for that, but it also is an example of all of our teams coming together and trying to make sure that we're serving our community and that we're communicating really effectively. So important reminder. Now, talking of communication, here's a positive communication. It has been an effort on our part. We are definitely trying, as many of our community members have seen, to make sure that the wonderful things that are happening in our district are spread far and wide. This is just one recent example. BUSD in the news. BHS speech and debate, that's Lucas Long and Evan Pepper with sweepstakes trophy with Mr. Hinchliff. But if you're seeing the coverage in something like Village News, we want to make sure that our community is aware of what we're doing, and we are working with communication to ensure that that is spread far and wide. I also want to share just other things that I've gotten the opportunity to see around BUSD. I am so lucky that I get to attend things like the 100th birthday celebration the Bonsall Women's Club gave for Mary Forbes. It was a beautiful celebration, and Mary has given 45 years of service in Bonsall Women's Club. Most of the women in that room, they said that she had recruited them. And I had the pleasure of sitting down with Mary and having a really awesome conversation. She talked to me about teachers who are long retired, the connections she had to education, the fact that she wanted to be a teacher. And it was just beautiful. She invited me for lunch, and I can't wait to go meet with her. But it was just wonderful to see that example of service that students in our community can look to in someone like Mary. I also want to shout out service, innovation, collaboration, integrity. We had a full day professional development and collaboration on January 6th. And among some of the other topics, teachers had the opportunity to collaborate around things like writing and on pathways at the high school that you see down there and on progress reports. We also had an opportunity for our entire staff to have some input on facilities conversations. And we are now examining that input, seeking more feedback, and you're going to hear a little bit more about that during the informational presentation that you will see in just a little bit, okay? I also want to call out, as seen in BUSD, our animal science internship with Rawhide Ranch continues, and it is strong. And we are very proud of the fact that our 4th through 8th graders have the opportunity to apply each spring and fall, and 24 students are selected. They can only go through it once for a 10-week internship. So every Friday for 10 weeks, they get to go to Rawhide Ranch and study animal science, veterinarian science, horsemanship, team building, leadership. And interns receive a certificate at the end, and then they get to show the skills that they've learned throughout that internship. It's a wonderful partnership, and it's ongoing, and I want to make sure you knew that. Something else that I wanted to celebrate, one of my favorite things from this week, on Monday, I had the opportunity to meet with the Superintendent Student Advisory Council, and they are pictured there. What a fine group of students, grades 6 through 12 throughout our district, representing Bonsall West, Sullivan Middle School, and also the high school. Thoughtful, awesome conversations. I'm so impressed with what our students see and what they say. And that is also feedback that we're going to be taking to the BUSD Advisory Committee and also our board study sessions as we examine our facilities. Our students had the opportunity to experience what our staff experienced on that Monday professional development. They went over the same exact data. They looked at and examined and analyzed that data, and they provided feedback. I do have a QR code there because we will be sending out a press release because we are seeking representation for our BUSD Advisory Committee, and you will see that probably in the Village News. So far we have about 29 people, I think, who have expressed interest in participating, which is great, okay? All right, next. This is a special month. I am so grateful for the school board that we have. And I want to read a little bit about our school board in preparation for a proclamation that we are going to share. And I'm taking this moment to recognize and honor these dedicated individuals because January is School Board Appreciation Month. I don't know if everybody knew that. And that's a time to celebrate the incredible commitment and the vital role that our board members play in shaping the future of our district and of our community. Our school board members are more than decision makers, and I get to witness this all the time. They're advocates for our students. They're champions of education, and they're leaders in ensuring that our schools are places where every child can thrive. They really do balance diverse perspectives. They make really difficult decisions, and they provide vision that guides our district forward. This requires a lot of dedication and resilience. And it's not something that everybody wants to do, and we appreciate that about you. And as superintendent, like I said, I get to see the impact of your decisions firsthand, and I'm personally grateful for the time, the thought, the care that you invest every day in ensuring the success of our students. So on behalf of our students, staff, and community, I want to thank you for your service, your leadership, and your unwavering dedication. And we would like to share a proclamation. and I'm going to read that to you now, and it's about January and your service. Whereas an excellent public education system is vital to the quality of life for all California citizens and communities. And whereas Board of Education members are committed to children, believe that all children can be successful learners, and that the best education is tailored to the individual needs of the child. And I'm reading this because there's no way you could see that up there. Whereas Board of Education members continue to advocate to best serve the children in our community each and every day. And whereas our public education system has faced unprecedented circumstances these past 4 years as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and resulting learning loss. And whereas our local Board of Education continues to act to ensure children's academic, social, emotional, physical, and mental health needs are met so they can become their best selves. And whereas Board of Education members work closely with parents, school staff, educational professionals, and other community members to create the healthiest environments possible where all students can thrive. And whereas Board of Education members are responsible for building and maintaining the structure that provides a solid foundation for our school system. And whereas Board of Education members are strong advocates for public education and are responsible for communicating the needs of the school district to the public and to the public's expectations to the district. And whereas the mission of public schools to meet the diverse educational needs of all children and to empower them to become competent, productive contributors to a democratic society and an ever-changing world is more poignant than ever before. Now, therefore, I, Dr. Heather Gawley, do hereby declare my appreciation to the members of the Board of Education and proclaim the month of January 2025 as School Board Recognition Month in Bonsall, California. I urge all community members to join me in recognizing the dedication and hard work of local school board members and in working with them to create an education system that meets the needs of our children. Thank you for what you do. Now, I know we're going to want an awesome picture of all of you, so I'm just going to say something because we have some other recognitions tonight. I'm going to ask that we wait on the picture, and we will have some people here that we would like to recognize, and we have a performance. We're going to call them up in just a minute, and we will recognize and take a quick picture with them, just with probably me and Alan. But then, right after our student performance, we're going to have a recess, and I'm going to request that everybody who's being recognized please stay for a few minutes because we're going to come up and take some wonderful pictures. The board never really has the opportunity to take those pictures with the people we're recognizing, so we'd like to snap some photos at that time, okay? So thank you again. Now at this point, I'm going to, this is a great picture. I'm going to call up Alan Williams, please, to recognize an exemplary community partner.
Thank you, Dr. Gawley, and good evening, board, president of the board, Ms. McInerney. We are really fortunate. I've been with the district for 2.5 years to have some outstanding community partners, and it's really my pleasure this evening, pardon me, to call up Adam Lindberg with Grand Canyon University. If you could come, please join me at the podium. Typically, community is a reference to folks who share a locality with you, like they're close by. But with the advent of the internet, the term community has expanded greatly, as we all know. In this regard, I'd like to present to you Grand Canyon University and their representative, Adam Lindberg, a genuine partner in BUSD. Adam has partnered with our district to help professionals take advantage of their outstanding and affordable online educational programs. Adam also works with connecting high school students to their in-person undergraduate programs located in Phoenix, Arizona. Our district's Human Resource Office has been working with GCU for over 2 years, and I would just say that Adam and our friends at GCU have sponsored so many events in BUSD. New certificated orientation, certificated and classified staff appreciation weeks, BUSD kickoff events, specialty luncheons, and even just recently, as you see in the picture, over there on your left, the ugly sweater gala. I don't think that was too much of an ugly sweater. I think that was a pretty awesome sweater. But it's really indicative of Adam, his participation, and how he really partners with these different events, because no one said that you had to show up in that, but you certainly did, and we really appreciated you being there. But such a deep knowledge of what GCU has to offer. He's been a real genuine blessing to our district. So we thank you so much, Adam. And just to kind of close out here and talking with Adam and the spirit of the university, which he represents, our values of service, innovation, collaboration, and integrity also ring true of GCU. So I'd like to present this recognition certificate to you. And then if we could grab just a quick picture with the superintendent, if you just want to stand right there, it would be great. All right, now we're going to move towards some staff recognition, and then a portion of this is too student recognition because they're part of the second portion here. But first, I'd like to call up Andrea Bruinger. So Andrea, would you join me at the podium? Look at this shot we've got of Andrea. It's fantastic. Well, tonight, it's also my privilege to recognize another outstanding member of the Bonsall Unified School District. We have so many, but it was really important to bring you forward this morning before this evening. Whoa. I must be quoting some movie there. I am sure that you are all aware that during the day, Andrea serves the students and families that are enrolled in Bonsall Virtual Academy. That's a lot. She does a tremendous job for us. And it really just really gives a greater menu to our families about what they can do in BUSD. And so we're very thankful for that service. She's a tremendous educator in this regard. But that is really her day job, because she has another job that starts in sometimes the early afternoon, but in the afternoon, and sometimes stretches to very, very late evenings. And it's not just one time a week. It's sometimes 2, 3, I hope not, but maybe even 4 times a week, maybe even more. This week, there we go. We brought her tonight, and she serves as our athletic director for both Sullivan Middle School and Bonsall High School. She has been instrumental in ensuring that all of our middle and high school student athletes have access to quality athletic opportunities, and we have over 20 athletic teams that she supervises and supports. It's a really big job. Now, I might need to define this term just quickly, because when I grew up, hustle meant like someone who, if you hustled on the athletic field, you're someone who got after it, you were tenacious, you didn't stop, you were kind of that coach's #1 player. This is really Andrea. She really does hustle in that regard. She takes care of so many things. Oftentimes it's not noticed, but she really, really does go the extra mile continuously. So please join me with a loud round of applause for Andrea Bruinger for the tremendous efforts and unwavering commitment to our students and school community. Congratulations. All right, well, I'd like to bring up right now Lauren Johnson and the cheer team. So if they could all join me up at the podium. We're going to say a few words, and then we've got a really special surprise for you all. And Coach, oh. Hello. Well, tonight we are excited to recognize and celebrate one of our new educators in the Bonsall Unified School District, Miss Lauren Johnson, and her new, I should say, cheer program. Miss Johnson's current assignment is teaching world history and English at Bonsall High School, and Principal Smuts reports that our lessons are engaging, meaningful, and enjoyable. It is always important to celebrate great teaching and learning, so I didn't want to miss that step as I talked about her this evening. Well, but the reason we brought her here tonight and the cheer is that we have been very impressed with her leadership and guidance, our student commitment to the program, and that this is the first ever cheer team at Bonsall High School. Let's give that a round of applause. As a former cheerleader herself, Ms. Johnson embraced the opportunity to serve as the coach for students who really wanted to get this program started. Ms. Johnson's school spirit, energy, and dedication have been a perfect fit for the pioneering members, those are our students, of this new team as they have added to the tradition and pride of Bonsall High School. With that, I'd like to present Lauren Johnson and the cheer team this certificate of recognition. Congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
And also, to commemorate this historic occasion, the cheer team is going to perform for the governing board and the audience tonight. Are you ready?
Yes.
Do I need to move?
Maybe a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe give them a little.
Yeah, right.
So how perfect that you're cheering for the board when it's the School Board Appreciation Month. It's just perfect, right? I just want to thank you again for your spirit and for your commitment and making sure that this happened, and for a new staff member to jump in and say, I'm going to take this on. We really appreciate you. So with that, we are going to take a very brief recess, and what we would love is for you to be able to take some pictures with the board. So anybody who received a recognition, if you can come on up and we'll take some pictures and have a little opportunity to chat and say thank you, and then we'll proceed in just a little bit, okay? Do you think about 5? Mhm.
And we'll reconvene at 6:47 right now at around 6:53.
Okay.
Alan, thank you so much for those kind words. That was so generous. I really appreciate it.
I'm so glad you're here. I didn't recognize you first with your hand up. Oh, yeah. So I think.
Okay, but I'm going to need the board to fill in. Fill in, board. So tall people in the back. Good. Maybe Pascal, a little bit forward. There we go. Okay. Nice. Oh, where is Coach?
All right, fabulous. And it has been 5 minutes and we shall reconvene. Thank you, Dr. Ghali, for the fantastic and positive and spirited report and for the surprise of having the board recognized as well. So that was very nice and appreciate that. That brings us to our group reports. Do we have anybody here from any of our parent groups? PTA, BEF, PING? Okay. And that brings us then to our labor reports. I don't think I see anybody from our BTA or our CSEA either. All right, then it brings us to our management reports. What's the order of our management reports today? Sullivan Middle School. Ms. Angie James.
All right, I think we're, okay, good. Good evening, board, Superintendent Dr. Ghali and Mrs. McInerney. I'd like to present, so as you can see, again, Angie James, proud principal at Sullivan. As you can see here, I like to start with gratitude, but just as you can see on the far side, I got all the teachers we had. I really put them through the 2 weeks. We had dress up the last 2 weeks. We did the underground dress up so the students didn't know what we were doing for 2 weeks. But we had our own ugly sweater, and I had everybody get up front, excuse me, and take a picture in front as the parents drove by, right? We waving at them. Excuse me. You can also see as part of our fall parade, we had many characters show. We had Frozen. We also had our whole reindeer that were there, the Grinch. And then at the very bottom, you can see our wonderful PTO. Super grateful for them. They hosted, we got food from Chow's. Oh, thank you. I'm getting over a cold, so I apologize. They hosted, so we were catered food from Chow's, which was really nice. So it kind of, it was nice that it was a minimum day, so we could all really stay and eat and enjoy. I think we were in there for about an hour, so it was really nice eating all the food. And then at the top, you can see that the students with our science curriculum STEM scopes are getting really involved and excited about the hands-on activities that we're doing in science. And as a former science teacher, it was kind of near and dear to my heart to see that. So, you know, I gotta include that, getting excited about science. So what I'd like to do is present some information. And another exciting part of what we're proud of, just one of the many things that we're proud of at Sullivan, but I would like to highlight as far as our chronic absenteeism. You can see back in 2022, we were at a 14.9%, and we do want to see this go down, meaning if students feel like they belong, they want to be there, they're going to show up. So in 2022, we started at 14.9%. Then 2023, some of the initiatives that we did as far as belonging, the social emotional, we introduced advisory where teachers greeting students in the morning, welcoming them, helping them get organized, and just some of the curriculum and getting involved with just touching base with them. Kind of being their mentor in the morning is how we're starting that. We decreased to 6%. And now we are now at 2.1%. We are super proud of this. Thank you. But I can tell you this effort, thank you. It was truly a team effort, gathering, and we've got the most amazing staff, classified and certificated. And when I say it's truly a team, it does. It takes a village to do that. Our parents, we're out there greeting them, but really the kids, when they say they're a trusted adult, it's not just the teachers, it's every single staff member there. So I can tell you it's truly a team effort. Another highlight that I'd like to do is we've got our suspensions. So students are wanting to be there and they're excited about being there. They're not, doing naughty things, right? So if you look in 2022, we started at 7.5%. little high. I think they were getting used to coming back to being at school from COVID, right? 2022, we decreased by 4.3%, and we are currently now at a 1.5%. So this is truly exciting as well. And the positive interventions, we switched instead of being punitive, we are rewarding. So we have a Wildcat store, we give out Wildcat bucks, we're honoring people for our ROAR awards, being responsible, organized, can-do attitude, and resilience. So just honoring, we have a Wildcat luncheon. So really recognizing students for being positive, and kindness really does matter is our motto. So we talk about students always belonging, but really the heart and soul is our staff, right? Really leading that charge. So if you take a look at, we did our winter and fall, and we haven't done the winter yet, but the fall climate survey, if you take a look at this, you can see where the school climate, I had 81% of my staff answer positively, stating that their perceptions of the overall social and learning climate of the school was positive. I have 95% of my staff that truly believes as far as school leadership supporting and really including their voices in the efforts that we are doing at Sullivan. And then lastly, their well-being. This is their stress point. And please keep in mind, when we did this survey, this was in October. So October is usually the month where everybody's like, oh my gosh, we've been here, and the kids are wanting a little break, the teachers are ready for a little break. So I was a little surprised to see this, especially in October, but pleasantly surprised, and really staying in touch and collaboration and really hearing not just the voices of our students, but the voices of the staff. So 82% really feeling that the faculty and staff perceptions of their own professional well-being. Okay, so what I'd also
Can I
like.
just ask a real quick
Yes,
question?
of course.
The comparison, so it's October those are the current results. That was compared to when?
This was compared to, so it was the fall to the last spring. So spring of last year.
Great.
Good question.
Thank you.
Okay, as we move forward with STAR, so our STAR is our benchmark, our assessment. So this is, we took our benchmark in the fall, so these are winter scores. So if you take a look at our reading, our 6th grade, we have 66% of our students that are meeting or exceeding at grade level. So we've increased by 8% from the fall to the current winter. And we did take these assessments right before we went on winter break. And we will be taking them again in the spring. So I will have that data updated for you as well, probably not until May. Again, so it's grade level 7. You can see that 69% of our students are meeting or exceeding grade level, which was an increase by 4. And then for 8th grade, we had 71% of our students are meeting or exceeding. And from fall to winter was what we just took. There wasn't a very significant change. If we look at our math scores, 6th grade, we have 57% of our students. We did not see a significant change from fall to winter. But we had a huge increase in 7th grade. We had 72% of our students meeting or exceeding, and 10% of our students increased. So when we're looking at bands, now I'm only showing you the at or above. If we had students that were far below, we are seeing growth within those bands, moving from the far below to a basic. So as they move up through the bands, we can see the decrease in the lower areas as they increase in these higher areas. For our 8th grade, we have 68% of our students that are meeting or exceeding our bench or the grade level, and that was an increase of 4% from the fall to the winter. Now, also what I'd like to include is our SMART goal for our language arts. So we have writing assessments that we give 4 a year. For this writing assessment, what I'd ask the teachers to do, they've all collaborated together, have a scoring guide that they use, and then they all do, give them a release day that they're able to use and really sit all together and score the essays. We've decided this year to have handwritten essays. I know the typed is on the CASP for the state testing, and we will include typing, but with some of the struggles with AI at the moment, right, until we move forward, we just wanted to see what can they do. So we had them handwrite this one. So as they collaborated together, we were able to see, and the teachers got together and said, we feel that 70% would be proficient right now, as this is our first benchmark, our first writing assessment of the year. So if you take a look at it, in 6th grade, 73% of the students were either meeting or exceeding their grade level writing standard. And keep in mind, this is a rubric that the teachers have created on a scale of 1, 2, 3, and 4, 3 being proficient, 4 being advanced. 7th grade, you can see 75% were meeting or exceeding that grade level, and 8th grade is 71%. So as they pull out and we look at these scores, this drives some major discussions and does drive our instruction and interventions that we need to be creating. Now it's kind of, we look at this and we say, okay, now what? What are we doing with the other students that are not meeting? So what we'd like to do is, so another highlight we have is Sullivan has reclassified. We did 12 students last year, and we're on track to reclassify another 12 to 15 students this year. Mr. Mencius has been working really hard, and we've taken those students, identified our long-term language arts, our long-term multi-language learners, and we've put them in his advisory in the morning, so he's able to meet and greet them, and he does see them throughout the school day as well in their ELD classes. We have a total of 45 multilingual learners, with 55.6% of them making progress towards English language proficiency. With that math score I was telling you about, what we've decided to do, the math team got together, we've created a math intervention class during the school day that targets students who need extra support based on the last assessment and STAR scores. We currently have 93 students that are being serviced in these intervention classes. So what we were brainstorming about, and I said, you know, PE, we're over minutes. So let's pull them from one of their PE classes a day throughout the week, and let's have an intervention class. So I'm able to have two, I have one teacher in there and another aide, paraprofessional, but actually it was from Mr. Williams' efforts that we do have tutors, because last year I hired a college tutor, but we have another tutor that's in there helping, so we have 2 adults that are actually teaching this intervention. So we looked at the last assessment, and that's what we're reviewing along with the current lessons that they're going over. So we just started that last week. We're super excited. Parents are on board. We've sent emails to everybody, and we have some of the best behavior in there, because I said this is a great opportunity, but we're serious, and we're getting down to business. So we're really excited about offering that opportunity for our math students. Sullivan has also been focusing on writing across the curriculum. We've agreed as a school and with leadership that science and social studies will be focusing on having students cite contextual evidence in their responses in their science and social studies classes to help support that writing piece that we're focusing on. And then we do have a ZAP program, zeros aren't permitted, that we are nominating students for our after school, that we do have 1 to 2 teachers that are in there working with the students like a tutoring session. The students are forced, but parents are happily along board with us to give that opportunity for these students and that after school program. All right, so we're upcoming, and what I'd like to end with is another gratitude. This is the heart and soul of our PTO. These are some of the hardest working ladies I have ever worked with. We've got Shelley Bird, Denise Dabbs, Tisha Tokars, Jen Grubaugh, Megan Leon, Allison McMillian, and Tracy Daniel that have all been a part of the amazing things that we have, giving scholarships to our teachers, making sure the kids are enjoying themselves at Sullivan, and just every fundraising possibility that we could do. So, and they're on board creating flyers. I know Tisha gets up here every other month and just reviews what we're doing at Sullivan. So we really couldn't make that magic happen without these ladies. So I'm very grateful for them. But as you can see, we had Roar Wars this week, basketball, and hats off to Mrs. Bruninger, because she, especially with our cancellations last week, has made sure that those games are rescheduled as of today. Thank you, Mrs. Bruninger. We have lunch on the lawn tomorrow. Everybody's welcome if you'd like. And then for next week, obviously no school on Monday. Basketball and soccer, we are playing, I think, 4 games next week with the makeups. We do have our next ELAC meeting on Wednesday. We have a Saturday academy that Mrs. Suedos and myself have been running. So not only the teachers, but I've been doing math tutoring myself just to help those kids on a Saturday. I used to be a math teacher as well. We also have a semester awards assembly, which we will be doing on the 30th, and I will have some of those statistics for you for our students with 3.0s and above for our next board meeting. And as a shameless plug, please, 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 our PTO ladies, our PTO parents, we've got Mountain Mike's Pizza on January 30th, and we get 35% of the proceeds back to Sullivan. And one of my favorites, Nothing Bunt Cakes, is happening January 21st to February 3rd. Yes, Mr. Smuts, I'm coming to your office staff. So if anybody would like, I will send it out to everyone, because that's usually a really big one everybody loves. So thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, Bonsall High School, Principal Smuts.
Was just double checking that she didn't turn the clicker off on me again. Good evening, esteemed board members, Superintendent Gawley, Ms. Gina, and community members. Again, it's my honor as principal of Bonsall High School to come and share some of the amazingness of Bonsall High School. We also got to see our cheer team perform and recognize a teacher. So there's other aspects of Bonsall High School beyond this report that are being presented. But just wanted to show off our beautiful campus there. This picture's a little bit old because that tree is a lot bigger now. But beautiful campus. The kids enjoy coming to it on the daily. Just wanted to highlight a couple of the events, not all of the events that happened over the last 2 months since I last presented. The Fallbrook Christmas Parade, last year was my first year at Bonsall High School. I had no idea what to expect, and it was a blast. I really enjoyed it. Last year I sat in the back of a truck and went through waving at all sorts of people. Didn't know many people in the crowd yet. This year I knew a lot more, but I had a student call me out and say, you know, Mr. Smuts, you said you were going to walk it and you didn't. So this year I walked it, but it was a lot of fun. We had over 25 kids out there. ASB put together an amazing float. And you'll recognize that we had our cheerleaders there as well, walking behind. The float was a Christmas tree with presents underneath it, and we had athletes representing in uniform. We had ASB students there that were working it, and the cheer squad walking behind in the snow, in the artificial snow that was made by our float all the way through. And it was really neat to see the community atmosphere, because this year it felt, as I was walking alongside, I recognized a lot of faces. Bonsall really showed up to see the parade as well, and that was really neat to see. But special shout out to the ASB class and our student leadership, and Taylor Robinson, our ASB teacher, for the float itself, and to Porous Landscaping, one of our community partners, who last year and this year have the truck that pulls the trailer and helps us out with it. But that was a really good event. And then one other one that I wanted to show off was our first annual Legion Bots competition that was on December 12th. So if you've seen, I can't remember what it was called, Battle Bots or such on TV, we had our own version of it in our advanced product manufacturing and design classes designed. There were a total of 6 robots that were in the arena. I didn't know what to expect with it. Lang Schwartzwald, our new CTE teacher, did an outstanding job with the students, and students built robots that they remote controlled, and they fought. And I was initially expecting Lego pieces to go flying and things like that. This was definitely beyond that. There were sparks flying as saws were cutting into other robots and such. It was quite an exciting event. It was all within a safety plexiglass arena, if you were worried about the safety and such, but really an amazing first event. And on the right, we have Luis Villagomez, our first champion. That's his champion robot that really wasted very little time chewing up the opposition. But really a fun event, and looking forward to seeing more from our product and design and our CTE pathways. You can see the new lab in the background with Luis there. There's a lot of great equipment in there, and it's really, really coming along. Another shout out to Lang Schwartzwald, the teacher, and to Aaron Barker, who has done tremendous work in establishing grant money for this program. And then next year, now that we know a bit more about how it plays out and such, we're looking to build up the audience for the event, and we'd love to have a board member or two there with safety goggles on to watch. All right. Do want to spend the majority of the time really just talking about a few of the statistics and the data that we can look at as far as our progress. We take the STAR exam 3 times a year. We take it in the fall as kind of baseline for the year. We take it in the winter as a kind of a halftime report, and then we take it in the spring. And what we did here is we're looking at the STAR Math average percentile rank over the last 3 years for Bonsall High School. So our students, how did they score? If we look at this 9th grade, in 22-23, those are the blue lines, 32 was our average percentile rank in math, okay? Last year we took a dip, but you'll notice that we're up to 38 in our percentile for our 9th graders there. Looking at our 10th grade and 11th grade and 12th grade, what you see is really summarized in that overall that we've got a really good trend going. And that is a significant improvement. In math, what have we done? We have our math teacher's been working hard at identifying students who are struggling. We have added a math intervention class during our symposium period that is a bit fluid, so students can go into it for a couple of weeks to get caught up, and then they can go back to their regularly scheduled symposium class. But it's a time within the school day to intervene. We found that outside of the school day, it's great to offer interventions, but a lot of students don't access it when it's outside of the school day, and so that's been a great intervention, and we're looking forward to seeing this grow and grow. If we look at our reading average percentile rank, we see perhaps even a more significant uptick in how the students have done. Keep in mind that the yellow bands represent only 2 tests that we've taken so far this year because we've only had the fall and the winter. Okay, and so that is our average percentile rank. Students have really been taking the test very seriously. These assessments, they help guide our instruction. They help us look to see where can we intervene. They're also important with our English learners and reclassification. It's part of their process. And so we've done a good job as a school in really impressing upon the students, hey, these tests matter. We want to study for them. We want to prepare for them. We want this data to become real. And it allows us to really intervene more effectively as well. All right. A couple of other points of data to note. This data came out since the last time I presented. I think Dr. Gawley might have presented it in between because I wasn't here. But our graduation rate went from 70% to 84.5% over the last year. So we literally split the difference between where we were and 100%, which is an outstanding step forward. That was a great push by all of our teachers. It was a great push by our counseling staff and administrative team. Heather Hoden was meeting with a lot of students, and an outstanding step forward for Bonsall High School. In addition, our college and career index went from 15.2% up to 36.9%. I anticipate that really almost having an exponential growth as Bonsall High School continues to push into CTE more significantly, continues to push into pathways through a variety of opportunities. We just had a course Articulate with Palomar for our Foundations of Law class. We're looking at other pathways with that as well, and early college continues to be a mainstay and a really great opportunity for all of our students. It's really great to see that it's another one of our programs where we see students who have disabilities that are taking college classes. We have students that are from every demographic group that we have. Our English learners are taking college classes. And so we're continuing to expand that. And I expect to see that 36.9 go up quite a bit, but as you can see, we more than doubled it in the span of 1 year. So the data is really trending positively for Bonsall High School with that. A couple of other points, just want to show off that sign. Robert Paramore kind of started the process and guided the building of that sign, but it's on the corner, and it's really neat. I don't know, it's a unique sign to us. Other high schools don't have that sign. But reclassification of English learners, on average, Bonsall High School through its existence. Now keep in mind, we've got ranging between 40 and 60 annually, our English learner population. We reclassify, meaning these students demonstrate that they're English proficient and they can take their academic classes without additional language learning supports. We tend to reclassify between 8 and 9 students per year. Last year, we reclassified 9, which was a strong year, but we are already scheduling our 8th reclassification meeting. And that is actually a wonderful meeting to participate in as a principal, because you get to sit down and really celebrate a student who is truly becoming bilingual. I unfortunately only speak one language, and I think that's something that I've let myself down with throughout my education and everything, but it's fun to be able to look at a student who has struggled at first and really started to excel and say, you know what, you're now twice as smart as I am. And so these students then become the people that we're really looking to hire and to really become a part of our workforce as bilingual. 8 already, we're on pace to probably look at about 13 to 14, which is an excellent, out of 40 is an excellent trend. And then report card data from our fall. We had 60 students earn honor roll, meaning 3.0 through 3.49 during the fall semester. We had 49 students earn a high honor roll, which is 3.5 to 3.99 GPA, and we had 48 students, which is principal's honor roll, for a 4.0 and above because of weighted classes in college and AP classes that they're taking. Now, we're a small school. Listed in those 3, when you add them up, that's 48% of our total students. So our students are getting it done in the classroom, they're working hard, and they are preparing themselves for college and career. Also, pretty exciting, and we've got a couple of seniors still in the room here, but we have what's called a valedictory circle, okay? And that is a group of students that we celebrate through the second semester. We'll be having an event next month that is our valedictory night, where all of the students who are seniors and have a total weighted cumulative grade point average of 3.5 or higher through the fall semester of their senior year, all right, are members of the valedictory circle. So we'll be inviting all of them to an evening dessert where we'll celebrate their accomplishments and such, and we'll also be naming revealing the valedictorian and salutatorian at that time. Okay, 34 of our 89 Bonsall High School seniors have earned this distinguished award. So it's kind of crazy that we've already got a photo of a graduation up on the screen, but we're definitely along our way of preparing for graduation. We've ordered all the stuff for the day itself, and we're looking at celebrating our seniors throughout the rest of this semester. But great stuff going on at Bonsall High School. I did want to share just a couple of things that are coming up. This is my last slide. Just 2 things that are really big on the near horizon, and that is we've got our winter formal dance, Winter in Space, on February 1st. And we also have our Bonsall High School Theater Company presents The Game. And if you read the fine print up there, it says by Louise Bryant, but adapted by Nani Usua. And so just highlighting the opportunities that are available to our Bonsall High School students. Bonsall High School is truly a place where students can participate in sports, they can be in a CTE program, they can be in ASB leadership, they can be in cheer, they can be in theater, and they can do all of those things. At a lot of the really large schools that are out there, it's very difficult to do 2 programs because they demand that you really specialize. And so good luck with the performance, Nani, and we're looking forward to it. All right. That's it for Bonsall High School. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share this with you.
Thank you, Mr. Sputz. And now Bonsall Virtual Academy, Ms. Calabrese.
Hello and good evening, esteemed board and Dr. Gawley, as well as our audience, and of course, Ms. McInerney. Very pleased to be standing up here today. It was really difficult this month to put together the presentation for you, just because there's been so many things happening, so many good things happening, and it's hard to really pare it down and just select a couple of photos and a couple of events to share with you. So if you look at the top left-hand corner, that's Megan Kate. For Christmas, there were a lot of sweets delivered, a lot of sugar purchased in the Calabrese household this last month. So a lot of deliveries throughout the entire district for sweets, just to bring a little cheer. We had a Christmas party. That's our students there on the floor right next to Meg and Kate, and they did a little gift exchange. We do a family celebration, so our families enjoy this opportunity to get together and socialize. Being in a virtual academy, it's really challenging to get those social interactions, and that's one of the ways that we like to do it, as well as include, of course, the families, since they are the primary teacher. And we explain to them that we're the educational consultants with a high level of support. The next photo right next to it, that's one of our high school students. We went to the Western Science Museum in Hemet. If any of you have not heard of it, it is an amazing museum. I thought it'd be just this little teeny tiny room, but it was a fascinating place to go. They also have a charter school there that was not connected, but we did, walk past where the students were. And the students were able to do a fossil dig, and it was such a cool event. We did have a little difficulty with our bus getting us there on time, so we spent a little bit of quality time on the side of the road in Hemet. But by the time we did get there, it was phenomenal, and I encourage everybody to go. We have been continuing with our career days for our students. We invite all of our middle and our high school students to come, and this was our it was our third career day of the year, excuse me. We had a financial literacy class. And what I've been doing is really tapping into our district employees because we have so much of a wealth of knowledge in our district. So this is Joseph Neri. He's presenting for the financial literacy class. And it was fascinating because last year I'd invited both Mr. Neri as well as Elise Marks to perform or present together. Last year just Elise came, and this year just Joseph came. So I think they're tag teaming it. But what was so interesting to me is they both had a different take on how to present to the kids. And so this year we had a lot more engagement with our middle school students, and it was really great to see how Joseph kind of broke it down, and he really took the tools of what the kids were thinking about doing post high school and graduation and how they could get to those desires and those wants. So I've got a student who wants to be a mechanic. I've got a student who wants to be a computer scientist. I've got a student who wants to be an artist or a graphic designer. And so he took all of that information, and then that's how he presented the financial literacy class. And it was really neat to see the questions that were coming from a student as young as 6th grade on what they wanted to do. He's already taken apart a few computers, as parents shared with me, and he's on his way, well on his way. Down below, a little more sugar there for you. We did do a cookie decorating, and we always include our adult transition program. So that's one of our students that helps with the food cart. I don't know if anybody recognizes him, but he had a great time. He's been doing a phenomenal job since he joined us from San Marcos last year. And he wasn't sure about decorating the cookies with us, but he did end up decorating the cookies in his room. And I asked if I could take a picture, and he's like, okay. And so he gave me a great big smile. We also did a second annual visit to Silvergate. So we had done this last year as well. It was Christmas caroling, as well as making Christmas cards. And I have to say, this is one of those feel-good moments. I really encourage any of the board members to come with us, because to see the seniors' faces light up. But this year, I have to tell you the story about one of our sweet little girls. She's in 4th grade this year, and she knew that one of our staff members' moms is in the memory care. And so I'm going to cry thinking about it. She made special cards just for her. She's like, we have to get to her mom's, place. We have to get to her mom's place. We have to sing for her. And the kids sang so beautifully the Christmas carols. The seniors were very loving with the kids, giving a lot of hugs. I had so many pictures. This is just one of the ones I selected. And we kept getting invited to the next place. So we performed for the group, and they're like, oh, you've got to go to memory care over here. So we go to memory care. Then, oh, you got to go the other memory care over this way. And so we had these repeat performances, and it was just so sweet. And to hear the seniors talk and get so excited to see the young people, as you can imagine, being in a facility, they don't always get visits from family members, and I think it just kind of reminded them of how special it is to have little ones sing to you. But all the kids had made cards, and so every senior that we saw got a card, which you can imagine it's hard to judge how many seniors to make the cards for, but the kids did a great job. And then to the right, we also had a lot of our students that got teacher and principal honor roll. Teacher honor roll is getting all A's and B's on their report card. Obviously, they have good behavior since they're working at home, so we don't have to worry about that part. And then principal honor roll is straight A's. So we only had a couple of principal honor rolls this time for first semester, but that's one of our students in high school that got teacher honor roll. All right. So where are we mid-year? We have already increased 45% in enrollment since November, not just since the beginning of the year, since November. I did these numbers a couple of times. I know I've got a very small number, but math isn't my strength. And so I was like, is that really right? But when I added it up, we are already at, currently, as of Monday, we will be at the same number we were at the end of last year, and it's January. So very exciting. We've supported 62 students, so if you do the math and the sugar amounts, I've baked 62 batches of brownies so far this year. Every family that comes to us gets a batch of brownies to welcome them into our program. Every student gets a little gift that's personalized for them. And it's a little way to make them feel like they're belonging to a program. Just because they're doing school at home doesn't mean they don't belong somewhere. And what I've noticed is that a lot of our students this year especially are taking advantage of coming in person and working. So every day I've got a friend. Sometimes I've got one friend. Sometimes I've got 5 friends. Sometimes I've got 15 friends. And they're coming and they're getting their work done. And what's really sweet about the way the students are coming in is that they're supporting and helping the other kids. So if it's lunchtime and I've got a high schooler and I've got a 3rd grader, they're chit-chatting it up and they're having lunch together and they're becoming friends. And then our ATP students are coming in and they're becoming friends with them too. And it's a really sweet little one-room schoolhouse. I really think we need to move over there, because to have the little one-room schoolhouse and the little one-room schoolhouse, how sweet would that be, but with technology? Because that's the way it feels. It feels like a family. And so the students are really, you're going to see on the next few slides with the achievement, but I want to point out this 91% pass rate. What does that mean? 188 classes taken the first semester and 177 passed. That means those students are getting a passing grade, right? Not an easy achievement for some of our high school students and middle school students, right? They really struggle sometimes with work completion. We don't get the straight A students all the time in Bonsall Virtual Academy. Sometimes we have students that struggle academically. And what we're finding is this program works not for all, but it definitely works for some. And some of our students are incredibly successful in our program. And so I wanted to definitely highlight that, because to me, that shows, it's a true testament to our teachers. You already had Ms. Bruninger up here. I was so excited that she got recognized for athletic director. An outstanding educator, and her families love her and adore her and would go the ends of the earth for her. Miss Presswood, I've only got 0.6 of her, but that 0.6 works incredibly hard. And the kids that are coming are getting that support, and that's why they're successful. They're not successful because they're just working at home, although many of them do work 100% at home and are successful. I've got some students that are in Costa Rica right now, and I've got some other students that are 2 snowboarders that are in Mammoth right now. They're professional snowboarders in Mammoth. How cool is that? So it's definitely a true testament to the staff. So definitely thank you to the staff on that one. Okay, my data is going to look a little bit different because I have TKers all the way up through 12th graders, actually 22. And I'll talk a little bit about the ATP program in just a second. But when you look at this data, this is iReady data. And when I was trying to put these slides together, I was trying to figure out a way to work within the number of slides that I had with the amount of data that I had. And I wanted to make sure I shared not just the data from just one group or another group. I wanted to share all of it. So reading and math average growth on iReady. So typically by this time in this school year, iReady data is the data that's taken by all of our students in grades K through 5. They take a reading assessment, math assessment in a program called iReady. And iReady also has a pathway. Our students don't typically use the pathway because they're already doing online learning. So they do take the assessments, they're district assessments. And what I wanted to point out is just the growth that our students had from the beginning of the school year, so fall, to the winter, which would have been taken in December. Typically you'd have about 50% growth because you want to get to 100%, of course, by the end of the school year. In kindergarten, 136.5% growth. You might be saying, how is that possible, Tina? Well, it's possible because they've gone past that first year, right? It's very exciting. In math, 122% growth. So an average change of 60 points, an average change of 38 points for math. So average change reading, 60 points, and then 38 points. So each student's score, took all of those scores, aggregated it, and added it up. Very exciting. First grade, I didn't have any data. My first grader, I had just one in December, and he didn't take the assessment. Second grade, 131% growth in reading and 112.5% growth in math. So a change for reading plus 44 points and 31 points for math. Just astounding. I'm going to be sharing with you as well, very briefly, because I see people are starting to get a little tired. I get really excited about this because you have no idea how hard it is to get kids to grow. Like, oh, so exciting. Second grade, we already talked about that a little bit already. Third grade, again, over 1 year's growth just in this first semester. Math is kind of, you're going to see some dips in math, and I'm not quite sure why. Sometimes in assessments, and I know that, this shows up sometimes, it depends on how the students feel that day when they're taking the assessment, right? So is it exciting when you see great results? Yes. But should you put 100% stock in that? Not always, because it just depends. It's a snapshot of that day. In math, we had also quite a bit of growth, again, more than your typical growth. Same thing with fourth grade, although there was 0% growth in math, which was a little disappointing, especially because I personally know the students in that, and I was kind of surprised. And then same thing for fifth grade. But what was exciting is the proficiency level. So 77% of our students in elementary school are reading at the proficiency for reading, so 77%, super exciting, and then 56% for math. So obviously we would hope that this would grow even more for the end of the school year. That's would be my prediction. All right, so now we go into STAR. STAR is a completely different assessment. You already heard my colleagues speaking a little bit about the STAR assessment. STAR assessment, again, is taken 3 times a year, similar to I-Ready as well, but it's for 6th through 12th grade. So again, we had quite a bit of growth. This is a little bit different. So we had the little stars over there. 20% of our students increased more than 50 points in math, and that is not typical. So typical is that 50, right? But we had more than 50. Many of them were in the 99 and 90s, which was super exciting. And an average growth by grade, so between 1.5 and 3.5 grade levels of growth in reading based on the STAR assessment from the beginning of the school year till December. And then for math, same thing. We had at least 1 year's growth in math. So very exciting for our 6th through 8th grade, our middle schoolers, and then our high schoolers as well. So I think it was very similar to what Mr. Smuts was saying. Our students knew that this was their ticket to no longer be an intervention. And so I think a lot of them took it a little bit more seriously than they did when they took it to begin with, which is, again, normal. It all depends on how you're feeling that day. But in reading, again, we grew by an average of 1.4 grade levels for 9th through 12th, and then 3.6 grade levels in math. So 72% of our students in grades 6 through 12 are at grade level reading, and 66% in math. So yay, super exciting. All right, this is a little bit more difficult to read. I wanted to explain this a little bit. So I mentioned that our students were very excited to take their assessments because they knew that that was one of their tickets out of intervention. So this year, based on how our students were doing last year, we noticed that our students were performing better sometimes in their classes than they were when they were asking us questions. And so, again, AI was mentioned a little bit. Our students have become very savvy at figuring out how they can figure out the answers to questions on assessments, right? So having the kids come in person has been hugely helpful for us, and what we've noticed, the teachers and myself have noticed is that our students had a huge need for intervention. We knew that the intervention was needed based on the questions that were being asked, as well as the performance, not just in their classes, but also on their assessments. And so in the summer, when we had our welcome back, we had all of our families and have the understanding that if the students were in need of intervention, we were going to provide that intervention. It was going to be part of the master contract agreement. That we were saying that these are the commitments we have to you, that we want to make sure your child's coming in twice a month for reading intervention and twice a month for math if they need it. And so for the math intervention, that was provided by Ms. Presswood for 6th through 12th, and then Ms. Brininger and myself supported the students in K-5. Then for reading and writing, we had Ms. Brininger that provided the intervention support for our students that needed it. And then we had a college tutor that I think I had mentioned before at a previous board meeting that provided that writing assessment or writing intervention support. And so what this slide shows, and it's kind of typical to see, but we have the hours of support first, then we have the number of students that received the intervention, and then the number of students that exited intervention. So in 9th through 12th grade, we had 45 hours of support provided for 3 students, and all 3 students have exited intervention. So cue the balloons from the sky. That's very exciting. 6th through 8th grade, we had 60 hours of intervention support provided. We had 5 students that received it, and yay, 3 students are exiting intervention. So incredibly exciting again. For 3rd through 5th, the 30 hours that were provided, 2 students that were receiving it and 2 students that no longer required that intervention. So we always want to make ourselves less needed, right? As far as a teacher goes, we want to make sure our students have that gradual release of responsibility and they're able to do the work on their own. And so what this is kind of showing you, and the reason why I wanted to display this for reading support, is just the power of really targeting what you're noticing as the issue, right? So when you know, okay, our students are having trouble with writing, the writing that they're showing and displaying when they're doing in-person writing assessments is not showing grade level standard, what should we do? Well, you should obviously provide writing intervention, right? And so what we've noticed is just by doing that, it's made a big change in not only their day-to-day assessments and their day-to-day performance, but also on the district assessment. So super exciting. And then again, you can see the last slide, 30 hours of support provided for 2 students and 1 student exiting. For math, very similar data as far as the amount of time. We had more students that required some math intervention than we did for the writing intervention. So 9th through 12th, we had 60 hours of support provided for 5 students, and all 5 students no longer need that intervention. For 6th through 8th, 60 hours of support provided for 5 students, 1 student exited. So we still need a little bit of work and support for our 6th through 8th graders. 3rd through 5th, 45 hours for 3 students and 2 exiting. And then kinder through 2nd, we have the 30 hours for the 2 with 1 exiting. All right, the exciting part, the upcoming dates and events. I had to throw in another picture of Silvergate just because it was so sweet to see those kids with the seniors. And then that's another one of our students that received a Student of the Month. Very excited, very, very loves to smile. Very big smiler. A couple of upcoming things that we have. Obviously, we have no school this coming Monday. I kept forgetting, and finally I remembered to do a call out tonight because it's gone by so fast already in January. We have our district writing prompt. We've had a lot of our students already coming in to demonstrate how they are writing. Fleet Science Museum, excited for that one. We're going to be doing a forensics class. We have an art activity with Miss Carissa. It looked like she was doing heart-shaped pizzas. That's on my calendar, and I'm like, is that what Carissa's doing, or is that somebody else? So excited about that. Miss Carissa is one of our paraprofessionals in our ATP program. We do a lot of combination work with our ATP students and our students. Oops, I forgot to tell you about that. And then President's Day coming up, and our next career day will have a photographer, a mechanic, a welder, and a vet tech. So super excited about that career day as well. Our adult transition program, our students have been doing a lot of different things to get themselves out into the community. So one of the things that they've been doing consistently is they've been doing a cart all around the district office as well as throughout the whole community center. And the students are in charge of preparing and getting things organized for the cart as well as selling. And it's been so sweet to see. The kids get so excited. They are also able to practice their skills. We also have our students going up to Bonsall Elementary School and working with Child Nutrition Services and working with ground services as well. And I was just speaking with Ms. Kirsten Orr about expanding that, so we have a program for post, hopefully, graduation as well. And that is the end of my report. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Principal Calabrese. Appreciate it. That brings us to our board member reports, and we'll start with our student board members.
Good evening, esteemed board members, Ms. McInerney and Superintendent Dr. Gawley, and community members. So this week marks our first full week back from winter break. And despite missing 2 days last week due to adverse weather conditions, the Legionnaires are as energetic as ever and are ready for another semester. Tomorrow, BHS's Red Cross Club is hosting a blood drive in the gym. A single blood donation can save up to 3 lives, and many of our students and staff members are happily taking on the task of donating, which is a really great thing to be doing now, especially with the fires in LA, and donating blood can really help out with people that may be needing blood. And so donating blood is just one of the ways that our students are active members in the community. And so next up, BHS's Theater Club is putting on a winter play at the end of this month, as Mr. Smuts mentioned, here in the community center. The game, a morality play, tackles subjects of life, death, and love. Tickets are currently on sale at bonsallschools.org and will also be available at the door for $10 or for $5 for students. So there will be 3 performances, the first one on Thursday, January 30th at 7 p.m., the second on Friday, January 31st at 7 p.m., and the last on Saturday, February 1st at 1 p.m. And a portion of the proceeds made from the play will be donated to the Paula's Social Services Suicide Prevention Program. As school has only just gotten back in session, there isn't much to report, but looking towards the future, our winter formal is coming up on February 1st, and the theme this year is Winter in Space. So we'll be looking forward to the kinds of galactic get-ups our students will be putting together. And additionally, we're also excited for our winter sports pep rally, where we'll be recognizing our basketball and soccer players. And excitingly, the theme for our next pep rally will be Candyland. And so the second semester has finally arrived, and at the start of 2025, we're looking forward to many more exciting events and developments at BHS. We hope we can count on your continued support for our school district. And now I would like to pass the torch over to my fellow board member.
Good evening, Mrs. McInerney, Superintendent Dr. Gawley, esteemed board members and audience. We're officially fully back into the swing of things from winter break, and Bonsall High School has already had a busy start. First of all, our school has implemented a new hall pass system that is aimed to keep us in class for longer. I think this is a really good effort by BHS, not only for engagement within the classroom, but for safety purposes as well. I'd like to focus most of my report tonight around a certain individual, but briefly before I do, I'd like to mention our school sports again. We've had soccer start up its season, as well as boys and girls basketball games continuing. Our cheer team has been present at our home games, and as you could hopefully see through our performance, hard at work at practice every week. We're in the process of creating another new halftime performance for this semester. I'm so proud of our girls and grateful for our coach, Mrs. Johnson. The person I have mentioned before is well known for all of his hard work, but I would just like to exemplify it more as he is just taking on a new and exciting role at BHS that is sure to help our students out. I'm talking about Mr. Hinchliff. This month he has joined Miss Aaron as a part of the early college program to support students in their pathways. In addition to this, he is still continuing with his Native American Studies class and speech and debate, as Dr. Gawley mentioned, which 2 students on our school's speech and debate team have made it to the finals. A shout out to Callie Morris and Jolie Kennedy for achieving this remarkable feat. Mr. Hinchliffe is an incredible adversary to our school and always working to help our students be the best version of themselves, so I hope to have made that clear by honoring him today. As always, I'd like to thank the rest of our staff, our board, and our community for their never-ending support. Thank you.
Okay, so, well, first of all, I know, seems like we just had a meeting a little while ago with the break and everything, and then, you know, school being out for a while, so, not really a whole lot to report, but I will say this, you know, we're gonna be facing challenges this year, and, I know that we're gonna be able to accomplish a lot of good things, and with everything that's been going on, it's obvious that a lot of things have been accomplished. Ms. Gumbridge, your report, I would have been clapping all the way through that, but there was so much stuff, we'd have been, you know, we'd have doubled the time of your report by clapping after every number that you brought out. It was incredible what you're doing over there. Really appreciate your efforts there, as well as all the other principals that are doing their jobs over there with the numbers. It's great. It's great to see what you guys are doing, especially where it comes to, you know, improvement of all of our students. But I will say this, though, with all the challenges that we're going to be facing in the future, I do want to acknowledge the fact that, you know, up in LA, there's some students that had their entire schools burnt down. We talked about our school being closed for a couple of days because of the winds, high winds and stuff. And, you know, people are like, when are the doors going to be opened? And it was just a couple of days. And I know that was a hardship on the parents and families and stuff for us, but just when you put that in perspective on some of the people up in LA that have lost entire schools, and those schools probably wouldn't be open for another, I mean, we're talking probably at least 5 years or more, you know, for any one of those schools. And I think there was like 5 that were totally destroyed, and there was like several others that were damaged. When you look at that kind of stuff, you just realize, you know, how good we actually have it down here. And the challenges that we're facing are not as hard as you might think. So if we keep that in perspective, these challenges that we're facing this year are going to be pretty easy for us to overcome if we all work together. And, you know, and it'd almost be terrible if we're not able to overcome these with all the other people that are facing much, much harder you know, problems. So that's one of the things I wanted to bring up, as well as just looking forward to a great new year. Happy New Year to everybody, and it's good to see all your faces here and stuff, and looking forward to an awesome year. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to wish a Happy New Year to everyone. The French saying is bonne année, bonne santé, which means good year, good health. I've heard several people here having a little cough, a little sneeze here and there, so this is sickness season. I'm victim of it as well. I want to reflect a little bit on the events in LA, and that just makes us also realize how lucky we were during the Lilac Fire. We could have lost Sullivan, we could have lost Bonsall High School. And just thinking about that really make me feel, you know, humble and grateful that we were able to continue our education without having the struggle of having to figure out what to do with the students and things like that. We've had great numbers, success, improvement. There's another side to the coin, the failure. I've mentioned it before, but failure is actually a step forward. Failure, it's not a dead end. It's not a prison. Failure, it's a way to learn something new and something different and grow. Failure doesn't define you, it refines you. And when failure happens, it's time to learn multiple things. First, humility. I think too often we are too confident, too sure of ourselves, and we are putting too much weight in the fact that we are able to do things without putting the work into it. And so I think it's really important to make sure that you accept failure. I'm not going to say you embrace it. Everybody should be upset to fail. but failure is not a dead end, and failure is a way to rebound and grow and evolve. So to all of us, it's not directed to students, it's not directed to teachers. We all fail in some way, shape, or form somehow, more often than we want to admit. Let's all learn from those failure and evolve. And you know, this picture to me says everything, right? You fall, you figure out why, you figure out how to fix that, and you grow. And then you go on the way to the next fall. That's pretty much life in a cycle. So don't despair. Don't get mad at yourself. Don't put your head down. Keep your heads up and keep plowing forward. So that's my message for today. Thank you.
No report tonight.
Well, Happy New Year, everyone. I'd just like to say I like that, Pascal. I mean, it reminds me of Nietzsche's amor fati, which means you learn from nothing that happens that's bad is necessarily bad. It means that it's just an opportunity to learn, and that's kind of what that says. So that's what I was thinking about when you said that. But the other thing I want to talk about is, you know, there seems to be a common denominator coming up here. Mr. Hinchcliffe is everywhere. Is it just me? I mean, every time I see pictures, his face is there, reports about him. He's like becoming the face of Bonsall High School there. So, you know, I'm pretty excited to have him and have him be so involved, and it's nice to see him honored, you know, and that, because that means a lot, right? So thank you for that. And other than that, that's all I got.
Thank you. Okay, I have no Nietzsche quotes. I have no visual aids that are really cool. Now I have to think to myself, I'm like, Ms. McInerney, I have something to put up on the slides. But I do have student artwork, which I think is actually pretty neat. So one of the things, we're approaching the season of the Bonsall Unified School District and the Bonsall Women's Club Art Show. And we had 89 promotional posters that were designed by the art classes and some of the advisory classes at the high school and the middle school that the Bonsall Women's Club Art Committee took a look at to pick out some of the best examples. And there's going to be posters printed up and put on the, you know, as you drive in and out of the campuses, and encouraging everybody and anybody with any sort of creative, you know, inclination within the district from TK all the way through 12th grade to submit two-dimensional, three-dimensional photography for the upper grade levels. And the art show is going to be on April 30th, so the last day of the month in April. Those submissions are due on March 17th. All the principals, we're looking to have, Dr. Ghali will be communicating the Bonsall Women's Club's picks for the promotional posters to be sent out in the weekly communications to make sure to get the word out. Looking forward to having also the performing and visual performing arts to complement the visual arts, you know, Ballet Folklorico and some of the musical groups throughout the you know, different ages at that event. And just wanted to share some of the top 3 promotional posters. So let's say there's the top 3 as per the Bonsall Women's Club Art Committee. So you'll be seeing them on the walls and whatnot. And there'll be a few others as well, some honorable mentions. So thank you to the students who made those. I'm looking forward to another fantastic show. It's the Stages of Inspiration Art Show. It's the 3rd annual, and it's sponsored by Nessie Burgers as well. They've been very generous. They've donated $3,000 a year. This is the 3rd year running of that. So we're very grateful for that community support. Looking forward to seeing all the student entries as well as the women in the Bonsall Women's Club that are also going to provide their entries as well. So that's all I've got today. Thank you and Happy New Year. And that brings us to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to our information items. I know we have Ms. Caroline Brown in the audience. And one of the things we've already heard some board members allude to is where are we at with facilities, especially in light of the way the bond went, the attempt went in last November. So thanks for being here and looking forward to you sharing your information.
Thank you. Good evening. Just a real quick update report to just keep the conversation going on our facilities discussions. So we'll start off with what we've done since December. We've been very busy with an all-hands staff meeting that Dr. Gawley mentioned on January 6th, Superintendent's Student Advisory Committee meeting with Dr. Gawley on January 13th, and then we had our first board workshop just on Tuesday of this week, and then we're working to recruit for the back. I don't say it quite as well as you do, but for that meeting, and that first meeting is going to be February 6th. So we've got a lot of information. We've got a lot of surveys out there. We've got more surveys that we want to send out to add some voice to the students, the families, and the community. And then we'll talk a little bit about next steps and some discussion. And if there are any things that from our workshop on Tuesday that you've thought of that we need to get data points on or anything like that, then we'll be sure to share those during our discussion. So the areas of feedback that we've received so far are in sort of 3 different categories. We have enrollment projections and heat maps that we did, some proximity, how many students are traveling X amount of miles to get to school. We've gotten some feedback on we need to probably do some attendance boundaries to balance the elementary schools. And then how are we going to accommodate the new developments within the district that are coming in the next 5 to 7 years. We're looking at getting information from people on grade level configurations and how we can best service the students in the community based on some of our geographic challenges as well as some of our transportation challenges. And then the next areas are around educational goals and student experience. We want to look at our programs, extracurricular offerings, and the sports, while taking into consideration infrastructure and accessibility. Got a lot of comments received about conditions and some of our challenges and opportunities there. Some comments around safety and security, in particular adding some cameras in certain areas that have become sort of hidey holes for people. We're going to have some conversations about priorities and funding because our funding is not going to be as robust as what we were hoping for. And we're going to have to be creative in some of our financing. Need to be concerned about staffing and some of our retention, and then being very conscientious and transparent about communication, and then take on any branding opportunities that we can come up with as a group as we're gathering the information from the public. So I'm going to run into our next step. So as part of the conversations between now and June, we're going to have 3 advisory meetings and we've had 1 study session, but 3 study sessions with the board to kind of formulate what our district looks like and what we need to do to solve some of the challenges that we have before us. And that's going to include the planning tasks, which are your enrollment projections from 2025, 26 and beyond. We need to take a look at some community profile data, figure out are there kids that we aren't capturing, and then see if we can capture them and have them attend Bonsall schools while they're here. And then we're going to dive into our transfers, interdistrict transfers in and out to figure out, are we losing students, are we gaining students from those transfers with other districts? And then we really need to dive in and look at our school site capacities and utilization. How are we using our current assets and how can we better use our current assets? And next steps as far as post-election planning, we've gotten some initial post-election results from the communications consultant. We're waiting on some precinct data, and we're waiting on a precinct map whereby we can overlay the district map, the trustee area maps on top of the precinct maps. And we've asked for not only the 2024 results, but also the 2018 results. And there's going to be some discovery we're going to have to do between those 2 maps because the precincts may have changed from one voting session to another. So we'll figure that out when we receive those. And then I think, okay, so, and then from the input that we received from staff, it came clear that we maybe need to do an FAQ, frequently asked questions, receive the input, receive the questions, and then come out with an answer to those questions if we can at this time. And then as we go through some of these planning meetings, we can add to those questions and answers and just have a place where staff can go to get the facts about what we're talking about. And then we need to determine a communication strategy. And then there's some desire to take a look at peer district data research. So how are our peer districts solving their facilities problems and working through some of these situations that have failed bonds? And then the next one is sort of categorized in projects and funding planning. So determine specific projects. It was clear to us that some of our feedback, we needed to be specific about what projects we wanted to do and needed to fund. We need to pull together some construction estimates for those identified projects and then figure out our funding and finance options and then what our state and other funding opportunities are. And then all in that encompassing, come up with, determine a timeline, determine some timing for when we can do some of these projects and move forward with some urgency. So that brings us to a discussion and questions. Was there anything that you would like to share about the board workshop? Any questions that have come up since then, or any discussion you'd like for the record?
I just want to say, I think it's great that, I feel like it's kind of like Groundhog Day to a degree, you know, because this is our third failed bond attempt, you know, and had the bond passed in 16 or 18, we would be in a much stronger financial position with stronger facilities and stronger programming options for our student families. So I'm excited that even if it's a very targeted approach to projects that we can do now and create a financing, at least we can create some official action around showing our community that we are serious about improving the facilities and then the, you know, thus the programs and whatnot, you know, for our student families.
I think the next 6 months is going to be critical. I think we're going to need to develop our story and be able to communicate our story that's going to be consistent and transparent going forward, especially if we're going to go out to the community again and seek support.
So appreciate all your assistance in guiding us with this, you know.
Thank you.
Perpetual facilities project. Thank you. And that brings us to our action items of the evening. Our first is we received as a district the school accountability report card reports, and we'll be having a presentation on those next month, if I understand correctly. Mid-year update on the LCAP, including all of our metrics. So at this point, this is more of just an acknowledgement of the receipt of these SARC reports. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Bringing us to our second action item of the day, which is the scope of work with the BIHA group and the district.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. And then bringing us to our third and final action item of the evening, this is the master contract for special education with, I think it's Presence.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously, bringing us to our public comment portion of the meeting. We have one very special, typical public commenter, and the clerk will read the standing rules.
Public comment. The Bonsall Unified School District of Trustees welcomes participation at the district school board meetings. If you wish to address an item on the agenda, you must complete this form and deliver it to the executive assistant prior to the board considering the item. If you wish to address the board considering matters within the board's subject matter jurisdiction that are not on the agenda, you must complete this form and deliver it to the executive assistant prior to the public comment section of the agenda. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. With board consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public presentation depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. The president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that additional persons speak only if they have something new to add. It is requested that speakers address the board from the podium when addressing the board. Commander Joe.
Thank you very much, and fantastic report. And fantastic report for all. I've got 5 bullets. Number 1 is the Legionnaires Board report. As usual, very, very, very good. That's number 1 bullet. So keep up the great work. Number 2 bullet, the Bonsall mailer that we received in the mail, and you've got copies there in the back. This is very, very good for laying the foundation of what's going on. The only thing I see here is the Bonsall graduates accepted at. I don't see Cornell listed on there. It just ran out of room. But again, very, very well done. Keeps this to the public. They're getting it in the mail. They see this. It's very, very well done to keep laying the foundation for trying to, and I know it's costly. It's a lot of money, but it's well worth it to keep this in the forefront. This is what we're offering the community. This is what we're offering our young people. Us old people are going to be dead and gone. This is what you want to invest in. You want to do something good for the world, and you want to do it through education. So number 3 bullet, the Village News, Thursday 2 January edition. So I've got that on into here. That was referred to. The Bonsall High School speech team speaks up with a nice picture on in there. Keep doing that wonderfully. Another one in the same edition, the Legionnaires conclude pre-league soccer games with the season's first win. So again, when you see that stuff going on in the paper, that's wonderful. This going on is good. It reaches out to a lot of different people, so keep that going. That's number 3 bullet. Number 4 bullet is the Bonsall Marquee, right out over here. That's very, very good. And sayings in there, I don't know about putting up there that vote for the next bond measure or something like that. That's probably totally inappropriate, but that marquee is very, very good because a lot of people go along with that. Number 5 and last bullet is a quote. I won't say who until at the end, but this applies to you all. One voice can change a room. Just like your wonderful slide up in here about your comment reinforcing that about, hey, that's the life cycle. Very, very, very good. And if one voice can change a room, then it can change a city. The city of Bonsall, even though we're not officially a city, we're a group of folks. We don't have a mayor, we have an honorary mayor and all that. And it can change a city, and if it can change a city, then it can change a state. And if it can change a state, it can change a nation. And if it can change a nation, it can change the world. That's kind of a lot what you keep pointing out to all of us in the community, from France and from the USA and from other places. If it can change a nation, it can change the world. Your voice, and your voices all up in here in particular, every one of you, it can change the world. That's a quote by Barack Obama that I just wanted to close with that. And thank you very much. And all of you have a wonderful new year. A lot of challenges. You keep up your great work. Superintendent, Dr. Golly, keep up. Board director, all of you, very, very good, doing a wonderful job. Makes me very, very proud at going on 82 years of age that this community, including Fallbrook, including Rainbow, including Paula or whatever, and beyond, it's in very, very good hands. So keep up the good work, every one of you. Take care. Hurrah.
Thank you, Commander Joe, for your positive comments as usual, and thank you to everyone who's still here at the end of the meeting. Thank you, Dr. Golly, for celebrating official board recognition month. Appreciate that. It brings us to our planning component of the meeting. Our next regularly scheduled meeting for the District Governing Board of Trustees is scheduled for Thursday, February 13th. So just a reminder, we're heading for the rest of the year for 2025 to do our meetings typically on the second Thursday as opposed to previously where we were on the third Wednesday. So generally speaking, second Thursday of the month, unless noticed officially. We had all of our the organizational meeting of December had everything outlined. And we also have that February 6th Bonsall Unified School District Advisory Committee meeting as well. So looking forward to getting all of that feedback moving forward. And with that, we are adjourned at 8:11 p.m. Where's the question?
Community advisory is probably here. It's here in the community center. It's be a large group.
And that's by invitation and application. So there's a form that's being submitted that those who are interested to apply so that there's equal representation across the district. So I'm going to swing that gavel now at 8:12 p.m. Thank you.